right, so we just listened to Diamonds to Dust, new album Amidst The Hallowed and The Vanquished, long title. And now we're going to talk about it a little bit. I'll give you some track highlights, my thoughts on the album. Then we'll go into a deeper discussion with Jordan over here, and then give you ratings. So, this is if you've not heard of Diamonds to Dust, they are I would call them Christian deathcore. To be more specific, I would call this symphonic deathcore. Not Blackened, not like Lorna Shore. Though the vocals are, kind of cool, similar to the vocal wankery of Will Ramos. But definitely more symphonic. This has a lot of piano, a lot of synth, throughout the whole thing. I do love that. So anyways, this is a very cool album. Nice little surprise. I didn't realize this came out. I'd heard of the band before with their single Corpus Christi a while back. Really cool song. Check that out as well. But I did like this. I like this a lot. It is very Christian. I will say that. And I think the one negative thing about this album is that they don't have any available lyrics. I googled it, couldn't find any. Looked on their Bandcamp. There was they had a couple lyric videos, which were sweet. Super glad they had those. They had a couple music videos, which I think the lyrics were in the description on those, but all the rest, just missing, just gone. Couldn't find them. And I really wanted to hear what they were saying, and I really wanted to get their message. So guys, if your label, I don't know if you're on a label or whatever, fix that. I want your lyrics. I think that's a little bit of a detraction from the album. But other than that, I think it was really great. A nice little fun surprise. There's, I think there's something special about, I've always said this, I think there's something special about Christian metalcore, Christian deathcore. When I, and I'm not Christian. Let me say that right off the bat. I'm not Christian. I was born and raised Christian. I'm not Christian anymore. But there's still something special that I get out of this music. You can feel a different type of passion driving behind the lyrics and just the melodies. There's just something about it that just always hits different than just regular ass deathcore, And I think they really do bring that in here. That's another reason I wanted some of the lyrics, to really get some of that as well from that. But there's, you get from these two sides of the coin song or whatever. God, that's such a great song. 10 out of 10. They have the nice little at the end when the whole band is singing. You got this choir chorus type thing, with the cleans of the fucking guitarist and the screams of the vocalist and these positive lyrics. It's just I love that. I love that so much. I want more of that, and I want the lyrics. Give me the lyrics. And Sleeping Giant Tattoo. I just love Christian music for some reason. I don't know what it is. I'm not Christian, but I think these guys really showcase that very well here. They do have, you can tell some of it is a little preachy, so if you can. Jesus is definitely in the lyrics here, for sure. But other than that, so they have some track highlights here. There's the song "Equality" is not what's it called? "Quality is an Illusion." A decent little message in there. They had the lyric video for it. It seems like they were talking to other Christians or something about how need to be more accepting. Which is true. So good on them for that. The song Manipulation, that one had it was just little touches that I like, that stood out. There's this layered chorus, so they had the cleans and the screams doing the same lyrics at the same time. I thought that was really cool. It's kind of a generic thing, but I think it just does it really well. There's not a lot of cleans in deathcore, and they really pull it off here. There's several songs, I'd say 4 to 5 maybe more. I didn't count, but I really love when bands do that, and these guys really do that really well. So I really like that. These two sides, I already said that's probably my favorite track on the whole album. And then Restoration was a nice little surprise. That was the second to last track. The last track was an outro. Restoration of the Soul. That one had like this interesting rap part. Came out of fucking left field. I was sitting there and we were just in there listening to it. I was like, okay, and then it started rapping, and I was just like, whoa, what? Like I audibly said it out loud. So that caught me off guard. It was a nice little surprise in there to change up the pace a little bit. I do think the album could have used a little bit more of a change of pace here and there. They did do it quite a bit, but I think there was just like somewhere in the middle. Like I definitely, we were talking about, I definitely would have put like an interlude, like a instrumental interlude would have definitely helped to really pace that out. And I think that's just, you know, it's a throwback deathcore thing. You know, Oceano, Whitechapel used to do stuff like that. I think it's a really underutilized thing. I think this album could have definitely benefited from that, but still, like, I really did enjoy this. So lots of piano and synth throughout the whole thing. I think really elevated it. I think it would have it really kind of carries, not carries, but it really like picks it up. Like if the synth and the piano wasn't there, it would have changed like the whole tone of the album. So good on them for having that. The cleans, very, you know, fairly like Christcore cleans. They really fit. I really enjoy them. The riffs, the music. Music. Yes, there's music. The guitar work here is really great. It's very metalcore leaning. Like you've got metalcore kind of riffs and guitar and solo with like deathcore blast beats and double bass and, you know, the insane vocals. So it's a nice, cool little mixture that they have here. I really love the guitar tone. There's lots of mid in there, mid tones, not mid as in bad, but you know, the actual middle. So I really like that. You know, it's got that kind of throwback where when deathcore was like borderline metalcore and metalcore was like borderline deathcore. So it's got that nice little feeling in there. Again, I needed the lyrics. That's my one big takeaway from this album. And also the other negative for the mix, I didn't really tell bass presence. I didn't have a lot of bass presence here. I think it was like the last song where I really started to hear it. Maybe I just wasn't paying enough attention for it, I don't know, or something. But I could not find a lot of the bass guitar in there. The bass guitar specifically. I did hear some like 808s and stuff in there, but not exactly the bass guitar. But other than that, I think the music here was really great. It was a really great fun time. I would love to see this live. And some of the tracks are just like outstanding, like really good stuff here. So definitely looking forward to more from these guys. And this was a very nice surprise. So Jordan, what are you thinking?
Yeah, I feel like I may have not enjoyed it like as much as you. Like it's very deathcore and very kind of throwbacky, but it's still got enough of that, you know, that little extra bit of like the synth and like just the extra passion from like the lyrics and the vocals that kind of push it ahead a little bit, and it kind of saves it for me a little bit. There's nothing really anything bad on here. I think like instrumentally, like the guitars are very cool. There's a lot of interesting riffs, and like there was a couple interesting solos. I can't remember which specifically which song it was towards the end of the album, but there was one that had kind of like a solo that was I feel like it kind of, maybe it was like a different key or something that like the rest of the guitars were in, but it really made it stick out and it kind of caught my ear a little bit, which I thought was cool. I really like the use of the clean vocals in this a lot. I definitely think it really breaks it up for me. There is that one feature with what's her name from The Agonist, and that really brightened it up and kind of added a little bit extra, which I think this definitely kind of needed just to push it above, you know, just normal deathcore. And I think they really pulled it off. I think maybe the mix was just a little bit off for me. I probably agree on what you said with the bass. There definitely needed to be a lot more bass to it. It was definitely very trebly and very mid-focused mix, which I guess that's just more of like the modern production for like deathcore and metalcore, which I think it's fine. It's really not bad. It's all like very clear and you can hear everything except for the bass. But that's just kind of like a common thing that I've found with a lot of modern mixes. So yeah, otherwise I actually really enjoyed it. You know, it is deathcore, so it's kind of hard to just like kind of sit down for a full length deathcore album sometimes, but I feel like they found enough things to set them apart where it kind of brought it up to a really cool level for me.
So one other like kind of negative thing. It's a weird negative. So I really appreciate them having the outro song that was like a minute long, because I think, you know, that especially with like symphonic deathcore and deathcore in general, I like having intros and interludes and outros. I think it's really fitting for the genre. But I feel like the outro here was not really fitting, and that like they could have just left it off with like the breakdown of the restoration song. I think it was fine. Maybe it could have had something to do with the lyrics. I don't know. I didn't have the fucking lyrics.
I agree.
But yeah, I think they could have just like had like a little more of a melodic type of outro thing would have.
Yeah, like at the very end, it kind of like faded like into a kind of like synth. I don't know what it was specifically, but it kind of faded into like a sample of some sort. So I feel like maybe if it would have just kept going with the sample a little bit and having something like at the end, it would have kind of like really brought it up for me.
Yeah.
But yeah, I do agree that last breakdown,
like it wasn't heavy.
It was kind of like unnecessary.
It was less heavy than the breakdown of the main ending song.
Like if you're gonna have like a song like that where it's just a breakdown, you kind of want it to be heavier than everything else just to justify it being on its own. Because you know, whenever you have like a breakdown that's really cool in the context of a song, it really helps it more. But if you just kind of have like a heavy breakdown that's not really different than anything else, it kind of it's kind of unnecessary. Again,
it's kind of just a weird nitpick for me. I don't know. I don't think it's gonna detract like too much from the album. It's just you know, I think without that and a couple other things, I think this really could have been like a perfect album. Having an interlude in there, having the lyrics a little bit more available, and just a little bit different ending, and I would have been like a 10 out of 10 for me. So speaking of that, what would you rate this?
I'm gonna give it an 8 out of 10.
Okay.
Yeah.
No thoughts? Just anything?
I just feel like it's just like a pretty solid record.
Solid
There's
deathcore,
nothing really crazy. There's nothing like too like crazy on here. So I mean,
what do you think of the vocals? What do you think about I don't think we really talked on that.
I think the vocals were pretty standard deathcore. Like he had a kind of unique tone to like his lows a little bit. It was like very gurgly, but other than that, I feel like they were just okay. There weren't like anything crazy. I feel like the clean vocals were more of a stick out thing than the normal, you know, crazy vocals.
I like his vocals. I think he's got some real talent there for sure. I like how he plays a lot with his range, and I think that's a really good thing. I like that he does that. He definitely has that real wet, throaty feeling. You can like literally hear the fucking the tunnels of his throat making noise, and it's really weird. But I like it. I think, like I said, just something a little bit. I feel like I'm very I'm very partial to Christian deathcore and metalcore, maybe more than others for some reason. So I think I'm gonna give it a 9 out of 10. I think this was really, really good. Again, not perfect, but it's close. Like they were couple small changes, and I think they really could have made a perfect album, which is crazy because this is a small. I would say they're small. I haven't heard a lot of people talking about them. I think they should be talked about more. It would be cool to see them. Maybe it's the Christian thing. Maybe that's a put off for some people. But that's with the territory, to be honest. And there's a lot of stigma with that. So, like I said, with those lyrics, put the lyrics out there. You know, they've got that one song, but still, a 9 out of 10. I think this was great. So, great job for sure. Looking forward to some more stuff from you guys.